Today I want to talk about a topic that I keep talking about, the power of expression. What does this have to do with our health? Mental, physical, spiritual, a lot. Every human being's soul craves to express how it feels. You look at children, naturally babies expressing through crying, through tantrums. Adults also express through tantrums. We think it's bad behavior, but it's nothing but an expression. Sometimes it's a cry for attention. Sometimes it's a cry for acknowledgement, for appreciation. A lot of humans who have not mastered the power of expression start to repress emotions and suppress emotions. Emotions were never meant to be repressed or suppressed. And that's why as we move into today's world where we're learning to suppress our emotions or cope with them for several reasons, which we'll talk about, it's affecting our health. There's enough medical science showing the correlation between suppressed emotions, a low immune system, autoimmune conditions, deadly cancers, and other diseases. Suppressed emotions create rage, anger. People hold that in. You have high blood pressure. Can we say that suppressed emotions alone causes disease? No. Disease is multifactorial. But does it contribute? Massively. You're constantly suppressing emotions. You're sad. You're living with anger, resentment, guilt. Your cravings for food change. You can't sleep at night. Now you have a bigger problem. More inflammation in your body, suppressed immune system. Your thoughts, stressful. Your thoughts become actions, behaviors, words. So you see, they're all interrelated with each other. Today, I want to inspire all of us, including myself and everyone else. How can we master the power of expression? You can have the best medicine. As I speak to you, a lot of my patients are going through chemotherapy, radiation, steroids, different medications, statins, all of that. I'm in integrative medicine. I'm not here to tell you to jump off your medication. A lot of people are investing in expensive supplements, nutraceuticals, organic food, all of that. Great. Do it. But this alone is not going to solve your problem. When you need to really heal, when you want to move from treatment to recovery, from treatment to healing, it requires more than just medicine, nutrition, and supplements. It requires healing from inside out. And a lot of that is with your emotions. I've had patients who have come to me with chronic pain on painkiller after painkiller. And the day they started to express their emotions, the pain started to get lesser and lesser. I've had patients who have moved from chronic pain to an absolutely amazing life by just learning how to express emotions. I've had cancer patients come down and break down in my clinic when I speak to them about suppressed emotions and they finally release it after years and years of holding on to their emotions. Their treatments start to work better. They have this energy that is suddenly released that gives them the spirit to fight their condition, to do things that are good for them, which was otherwise held down by this heavy anchor of suppressed emotions. Suppressed emotions affect us at a physical level, a mental level, a spiritual level. I've had patients of depression as young as 12, 13, going up to 50, 70, and 90, who started to get better. Their own psychologists and psychiatrists reduced their therapy and their medications when they started to master the power of expression. Expression over suppression. Why do we suppress as human beings? As we're speaking right now, many of you will be suppressing certain emotions. Let's go over them one by one. One, cultural norms. Depending on where you live in the world, your cultural upbringing, sometimes society teaches us not to express our emotions. Don't express your sadness, your fear, your anger to make you look weak. We have societal pressure to hide our emotions. Sad, here's a drink. Sad, smoke a joint. Angry, calm down, smoke a joint. Upset, go shopping. I don't have a problem. These coping mechanisms don't teach us to express. They teach us to cope. While coping is great, how can we reduce our coping by expressing so that we can release so much of stuck energy in our body that can now go towards our healing? Society teaches us, expects us to be resilient. Resilience is great, but not at the cost of suppressing your emotions. Be resilient, but also be great at expression. It is not resilience when we are losing our health. That is foolishness. Then we have the fear of judgment and rejection, which is probably the most common reason why most people don't express. There are people living in loveless, sexless marriages, relationships, just because they cannot express. They don't want to express for the fear of being judged, rejected, ridiculed. We also sometimes perceive our inability to cope with the outcomes of if we expressed. I want to express this today, but I don't know if I can cope with the outcome. What if people don't like me? What if people say this? What if people cancel me? Whatever it is. So sometimes we have a perceived fear of being unable to cope. Then it goes back to our childhood. Were you the child that had to win the approval of your parents by being quiet, non-expressive, do what you're told, don't speak back? All of these things form us, our value systems, our belief systems as we age. So if you were controlled by your parents and not allowed to express your feelings, your father told the son, hey, you can't cry, it's weak. No one will like you, no one will love you. If a young girl was told, don't express your feelings to anyone, especially in our country, if a young girl is raped, within her family, uncles, aunts, both boys, girls, and they're told never to express it because no one will love them, no one will respect them, no one will marry them. They learn to cope from the time they're a child. This goes and affects their future relationships, their jobs, their marriages, their health, and one fine day it has to come out. And usually it's in the form of disease. As children, we have the fear of displeasure. We don't want to hurt our parents. We don't want to trouble our parents. Oh, my parents are so busy. Maybe I shouldn't express what I feel right now because they're already going through so much. The fear of being punished, the fear of being reprimanded. We have unresolved trauma and pain. The discomforts that come with all of this suppressed emotions leads to physical illness, chronic pain, chronic illness, anxiety, depression, impaired relationships, disharmony, and even the best marriages where one partner loves the other and the other partner loves it. But the love is lost because there's no communication. There's the fear of expression. How do we overcome this? It's difficult. The why is always important. Where do you and I fit in these categories of what I just explained? Why we don't express. It is so important for us to express our emotions. Otherwise, the workaholic will become more of a workaholic just because he or she can't express the reason why they want to really work so much. It's sometimes probably a reason because they don't want to go back home. In a bad relationship, toxic relationship, in-law problems, whatever it is. We have to take the personal responsibility to overcome fear, and it's not easy. I'm not preaching to you, I'm teaching you. It's not easy. Some of us will need therapy. Some of us will need other tools. Some of us will need to be surrounded by the right people. If I want you to express to me, I need to create, it is my responsibility to create a safe space for you. In relationships, it is each partner's responsibility to create a safe space for one another. You can't say, my values are honesty, and expect honesty if you don't create a space of safety for a partner to be honest. The same thing with your kids. You cannot create a space of fear for a child to express because they will just learn to cope from a younger age. In a working relationship at work, if the boss and the employee create that non-safe space, people are going to learn to cope, people are going to learn to lie, People are going to learn to manipulate. People are going to learn how to deceive. We all do that when we don't have a safe space. How are we creating a safe space for other people where we demand honesty from them? And how are they creating it for you? It is so important for us. Sometimes we need to go through that difficult journey right back to your childhood. Sometimes to your teenage years. Sometimes to your first relationships. Some people have not had the first best relationship. It scarred them for all their relationships. Even if someone truly loves them, they can't see it because they got so hurt in the first relationship. We fail to understand by being vulnerable in an emotionally responsible way. This doesn't mean we become, we wear our emotions on our sleeve and we share everything with the world and social media and everyone. No, that's instability. How are we able to connect with our inner selves and tell ourselves that we have the right to express how we feel and trust the process of life, that we will be looked after, guided, and cared for through the process. Some of the outcomes may be difficult. We got to trust that we'll get through it. How do you build a team to help you with this? Maybe a family member, a close person, a close friend. Maybe sometimes you can't express to your loved ones because they can't hold space for you. They can't hold safety for you. Of course, you want to choose very carefully who else you express to, because sometimes that can become emotional dependency. It can become affairs. It could become tricky. It could become dangerous. So we got to be responsible for that too. I have some clients who cannot express to their parents because they don't have great relationships with their parents. Some of them can't express to their loved ones for certain reasons, but they find that one friend who is solid, and that one outlet of expression is enough for them. Some people find it in a therapist. Some people find it in journaling. Some people find it in recording their emotions on a voice note and deleting it. Some people find it through art, through music, through painting. Some people find it in social groups, very small social forums and groups, trusted groups, where you can speak and share without being judged, without being told how to fix the problem. Some people have role models that they learn from, they get strength from. A lot of people get strength from spirituality, from their religion, to now start to express. We have to find different creative outlets or therapeutic techniques that can help us, because the one thing I can tell you right now, whatever you are suppressing has to come up. Has to come up. I always share two stories. A bone cancer patient of mine 12 years ago. Even the doctors were waiting for him to die. All of us were waiting for him to die. The pain was incredible. The morphine was not working anymore. It was like, how can he even be alive? You couldn't even touch the bed. This a single vibration from touching the handrail, and the patient would scream in pain. I spent a lot of time with that patient. Those were the days I used to go to hospital, meet my patients privately. And the one thing that came to my mind, and I finally had a conversation with that patient, is there anyone who you are yet to forgive? And he goes, yep, my brother. He's not even come to see me. I've been suffering with this cancer for 4 years. I hate him. Got in touch with the family. We managed to get the brother to come and meet him. They were in a room together for about an hour. It's an unbelievable story. I get goosebumps even when I tell it now. The brother left. At midnight, the patient he breathed his last. He died peacefully. Time to go. Sometimes we got to finish the circle of life. All of us. All of us. Sometimes our time on earth isn't done unless we finished what we were put here to do. And that's why some people get overwhelmed and they can't handle anything. And then there's suicides, there's different things. And then, of course, there are road accidents and everything else. I remember I share another story. Not ashamed to share the story. My own father. Great family life. Absolutely amazing father. Greatness and his own mistakes and faults, which he would always share with us and say, if you don't like the mistakes I made, you be a better father. He had a dispute with his sisters and his brother. Some typical property issue that goes on and on. When my father was sick, his time would probably be near. He wakes up one day. leaves the house and goes opposite to my aunt's house, his sister's house. They would not been speaking for years and years. He went, sat with them, had tea with them. They were surprised as well. They reconnected as a family. 3 weeks later, my father died peacefully, beautifully, peacefully. He had to go through that process to do it. And like this, I have so many other stories that my patients have shared. We need to understand that living with these emotions is difficult, but it becomes dangerous for us. I know there are so many, because so many of these women walk into my clinic. I mean, in a month, the amount of young girls, women who have been raped as children in our country, molested by their own uncles, it's just disheartening. And they finally break down, and we are the first person that they've spoken to, and they cry and they cry and they cry and they cry. And then the way their healing and recovery happens, some of them still die eventually, some of them live to be stronger. We have medicine, we have nutrition, we have complication, but you can never forget the needs of the human soul. All of us every day, we need to look at the weight that anchors us down. And it's usually some suppressed or repressed emotion. What's a repressed emotion? That we become so good at coping with it that we think it's not even a suppressed emotion anymore. But it gets coping with it all the time. But it's still a suppressed emotion which is now repressed. I encourage all of you of every age group, if you're a parent, allow your children to express. You can teach them respectful ways to do it. Don't shut them down. They're children. Don't shut down your teenagers. It's difficult. I know people say teenagers is difficult because we're creating war with them. We're retaliating tantrum versus tantrum, authority versus a tantrum. Many teenagers are just confused. They don't know how to handle their emotions. They don't know how to handle the peer pressure that is built massively on them in this particular generation. They don't know how to understand the changes happening at a hormonal level in their body. While of course some amount of authority and assertiveness is always necessary, discipline, consistency, an equal amount of love and compassion and understanding is also always necessary. That's why we're the bigger people, right? We have more experience. We have more maturity. We can't come down to their level and fight a tantrum with a tantrum. We can't do those things. Children below that, don't shut them up when they're throwing a tantrum. It's their way of expression. It's the only way they know how to express. Most adults don't know how to express respectfully, and you expect children to do that? You shut them down? That's who they will become. They will shut down in relationships. Some children see their parents learning to suppress emotions. They see their parents learning to cope through difficult times, through suppression. They think it's the right way. Children see, children do. We have to understand these things. We're not perfect as parents. We're not perfect as husband, wife. We're not as perfect as grandparents. It's a constant learning journey for everyone. But the one thing I can tell you is your homework for today and every day is, what are the emotions I need to suppress? It's difficult, but on the other side of suppression, on the other side of expression is freedom. There will be fears. On the other side of fear is freedom. The amount of release of energy that is locked in you with anger, resentment, all of these things. You know, unfortunately or fortunately, the angriest people who always have outbursts usually never have medical problems. The calm ones who have low anger scores, who are so great at, they want to keep everyone happy outside because they don't like confrontation. They don't want to hurt other people. They don't want to trouble their grown children. They don't want to be a burden. These people unfortunately turn out to be with some disease or the other at some point because of the amount of suppression of emotions. There are respectful ways to express emotions and beautiful ways as well. My point is, please understand, beyond your diet plans, beyond your complicated medicines and everything else, you need to do your part of expressing emotions. A simple way to start off, journal. The best way to start off is human-to-human contact. If you have that person in your life where you can express, I think it's the most beautiful thing, better than journaling. If you don't, then you can journal. If not, you can get a counselor. You don't need a psychologist. You don't have a psychological problem. If you do, it's different. You need a counselor who can listen, hear you out completely, not try to fix your problems, not try to fix you, not try to give you empathy, not try to give you sympathy. In the process of you expressing, you find your healing. That's why they say a good listener is one of the best healers. Some of us have great friends who are just such great listeners, and they become our best friends because emotionally and soulfully we are so attracted to them because they listen. Find your healing in expression. Don't stop anything else. Do whatever it is, your meds, your nutrition, but expression, the power, it's powerful to express. Express and you will feel an immediate weight off your chest. And by weight, I mean an immediate weight off your chest. You will feel ecstatic like a child, like a kid. You'll find this energy release in you. You'll find your posture change. You'll find this incredible newness about you, where you've just empowered your soul by releasing what should be released. We worry too much what the outcome will be, but we choose to live with disease. I can't tell you how many of my patients and patients who will come to me will have to play a massive role of their healing through expression over and above whatever else we do with them. So why wait? Now's the time to start. We distract ourselves with social media, constant binging of TV and socializing, and then we don't find the need to sit in solitude, reflect, and realize that I need to express. Sometimes there are things I can't express to any human on this planet. Then I talk to God, and I love it. I love it. I just talk. No filters. I say what I want, how I want it, and I feel so peaceful after that. And sometimes there are certain people in my life that I can be absolutely open with. One or two. Some I have to be guarded with. Some I got to walk on eggshells around. That's how life is. It's with every one of us. We don't have to say, oh no, this is horrible. This is so bad, because you're dependent on one person to fulfill you. You're dependent on one person to be your therapist, your lover, your teacher, your partner, or whatever. That's a huge expectation. Sometimes we find our healing through different positioning in life. Your healing comes through a person, an event, a thing, an experience, maybe a doctor, maybe a friend, maybe an enemy. It doesn't come from where we expect it to come. You can't expect your partner to fix and fulfill every part of your life and your soul. You can't expect your teacher to teach you everything that you're supposed to learn in life. Your teacher can teach you a little bit. The rest you will learn in your journey of life. That is why self-learning and self-awareness is so important for all of us. It is extremely important for all of us to understand this. And I hope you will understand that this is way more important than anything else that you can do that is superficial today. You can go on being the most spiritual and religious person, but if you're unable to release and express your emotions, even spirituality has a limit. But you can ask spirituality to give you strength and courage to overcome the fear you have and express, no matter what age you are. I had a 92-year-old colonel from the Indian Army come and express to me. He broke down and he cried. I was in Delhi. This meeting happened in a hotel. He cried. I didn't know how to handle someone of such respect who served our country, fought in wars, break down and cry in front of me. I'm not trained for that. I didn't know what to do, so I listened to my heart. I just let him cry. And when he finished crying, he moved into expression. First came all the suppressed emotions of tears, and then came the words. And all I did was listen, and listen, and listen. To all the pain and the grief and the anger that he had carried on for years and years, the disrespect that he had received from his own family when he received all the respect from the army for serving his country. People carry, all of us carry emotions and feelings, and none of us are right to justify whose emotions are right or wrong. They're personal to us. And that is why we express. We express to learn. We express to understand if we are the problem. We express to just get the gift of listening. We express so we don't carry the weight of what should be outside of your body and outside of your mind. I hope all of you have a beautiful weekend. Peace be with all of you.